Diablo 4 is a brand new ARPG that released in June 2023. In this game you'll choose from one of the game's 5 classes and embark on a fully voice-acted story-driven campaign full of cutscenes where you'll hunt down Lilith, the creator of Sanctuary, whose goal is to destroy both heaven and hell so that Sanctuary can find eternal peace. Diablo 4 features a massive open world with diverse biomes full of collectables, dungeons and events. The game has a transmog system where you can also dye your gear, an extensive skill system that starts off simple but branches out with a ton of depth and possibilities once you hit level 50 and unlock the Paragon tree. Unlike previous Diablo games, you can traverse the world on your horse, take on world bosses with other players, partake in PvP, and gear up with various new systems such as the Tree of Whispers, Helltides, Strongholds and Legion events, before pushing your character to their limits in Nightmare dungeons as you unlock World Tier 4 to take on the game's final challenge waiting for you at level 100. In this video I go into Diablo 4 relatively blind as a somewhat casual ARPG player after only playing the game briefly during the beta. This video is sponsored by Blizzard, but they've allowed me full creative freedom to do my usual pros and cons list at the end. If you like what you see in this video, then click the link in the description below to buy Diablo 4 on your platform of choice. Here it is, Diablo 4, it's finally fully released. I already know what I'm going to play. I'm going to play the Sorcerer, even though I'm aware that it's not S tier. Apparently Barbarian is super strong, but I'm a mage in every game, so easy choice. Hardcore heroes die permanently. I definitely want to try this, but not for my first character. Big damage. Start with World Tier 2. Let's go. Fun fact, the last time I covered this game, the video got demonetized because it's too gory. Not really much of a surprise. I also appealed the demonetization and the appeal was rejected, so yeah, Diablo 4. Unmonetizable. Now, as much as I'm not playing on proper hardcore mode, I'm going to try not to die during this video. I'm going to play the game as if it is hardcore mode, but without the stakes of actually having to start my character again. This looks like a final boss room. Lights War Room. Yep. I'm gonna fight a werewolf monster, the Den Mother. Ouch, that hurts. Oh no! Oh no! Oh, that hurt. Getting jumped on by 50 wolves is not pleasant. And one more zap. Should be dead. There it is. I like these little world events that pop up. They're pretty cool. Very quickly starting to get some big damage online. Level 15. I love the detail on the floor in this section of the game. Super cool. Ooh, almost dead. Standing in too much stuff. Don't worry, Narelle, your mum was meant to die. I'm excited for my build to really come online. I haven't really experienced the glory of a fully finished build in Diablo 4 yet. Feels like my damage is kind of lacking now compared to earlier in the game. And it's dead. Anything good? A yellow hood. Put him out of his misery. Got ourselves a treasure goblin. Frost Nova. Big damage. So far I've been playing the game on World Tier 2, but apparently most people are playing on World Tier 1 because it's much faster. I'm going to switch the tier and see how different it feels. For me, I'd say this is the first really cool boss fight with actual mechanics in the game. I do quite like this one. There's a lot of movement to it. And it's dead. GG. Ooh, our first legendary. Increased damage with barrier active, mana cost reduction. Yeah, that's good for pretty much everything. Rest in peace, Vigo. Oh, okay, another legendary's popped out. So I was supposed to do this quest upon hitting level 15, a class quest. But apparently it's going to upgrade my abilities quite a bit, so let's go do that. I completely forgot to upgrade my healing potion. We've finally done that now. Dude, what killed me? That was some damage? Kinda sad, that was my first death. Bit of a newbie way to die. I guess I just didn't think I was gonna die. Enhanced ice armor, this seems huge. More mana regen. Go in the shack and now we're gonna perform a ritual that will apparently enhance my spells. I love seeing all these glyphs on the floor. The attention to detail is really cool.
Something is wrong.
Of course something's wrong. Something always goes wrong. Enhancement slots unlocked. Press S. Okay. Obviously we're going to enhance Chain Lightning. So next we're going to head off over here and begin Act 2. Not looking too hot for these guys, is it? Look at the attention to detail on the floor here. This giant floor mural. There's some pieces missing to it. Here the audio of my footage got corrupted, but basically we had some cutscenes laying the story for Act 2, we killed some mobs, ventured to a new town called Serigar which had a Scottish Highlands theme to it. I continued to zoom into various pieces of environment to admire the attention to detail. We had a pretty cool boss fight against an old lady.
Some will die, yes, but that is the way of nature.
We dinged level 25, this unlocked my ultimate, giving me a massive temporary power boost whenever I used it, causing me to feel really powerful for the next few levels.
If you ain't cut me loose, you can piss right off.
Then we followed a good boy into a blood forest where his owner was being drained of blood after signing a pact with Lilith. From his blood grew a giant multi-headed hellhound amalgamation, which escaped us before we could kill it. We put the wolf's owner out of his misery, returned to Elderheim, which was under attack, killed a lot of mobs, then faced the finale of Act 2, which was a boss fight against Donan's son, who had turned into a demon and was now riding the giant hellhound from earlier. Some fairly cool boss fights and cutscenes in this section of the game. We finished Act 2 at level 27 with a shiny new legendary staff. I do tend to do all of these events that just pop up whilst I'm playing. Ooh, we got a legendary from that one. Treasure Goblin, big damage. Get back here, you little goblin. Oh, another legendary. Legendary's starting to drop more frequently. Another new town, Ked Bardu. Grab the waypoint. And let's begin Act 3. Wake up, Loraf. Someone's summoning something. Oh, and he's summoned a boss. This guy's going down pretty quickly. I don't know if he's just an easy boss or if I am incredibly overpowered now that I've got this legendary staff. Why don't we just slit his throat right now? He's literally just kneeling there. Oh, now we've got double bosses. Damage, and it's dead. Just arrived at some kind of monastery. This area looks unique compared to the other places I've been to. Big damage. Level 29, add another point and glass cannon. Looks like the abbot is burning the library.
I deserve to burn with the rest of it.
He's going to turn into a monster, isn't he? Was I correct? Yeah, kind of. We made short work of that boss. What the hell is that? He's just pulled a hand out of his belly.
Would have to
Now a foot. This game has no chill. I was hoping that they'd have fixed this for the full release. Oh, come on. Another new area, grab the waypoint. Beautiful. This is a dungeon entrance, apparently. From level 15 to level 25, I did feel kind of weak, but now I'm feeling strong again. Didn't know my character could do a bit of parkour like that. Bad things happened at the entrance to this prison. Parkour. I've just realised that I'm almost level 30 and I haven't ran into the butcher yet, not even once. I mean, even when I played this game during the beta, I ran into the butcher like fairly early on, like level 12 or something. Level 30. So now I've hit level 30, we've also got another enchantment slot. So now that I've put Firebolt as my enhancement, even though I'm not attacking with Firebolt, enemies are now burning. Now that all of my attacks inflict burning, I'm basically using every sorcerer element. Bit of fire, bit of frost, bit of lightning. This specific wall looks very nice. Look at the detail on that brickwork. I keep just wanting to zoom in on everything. I guess this is going to be my next boss fight.
And so will
Brawl Angry. Another boss fight, Mother's Judgment. Right, let's see how quickly we can delete this boss with my new power increases. Making relatively short work of it so far. Deleted. Well, that's just lovely. This place is just full of dead bodies. Yo. There's not even any monsters around. Bring Loraf to Diablo's shrine. Probably heading towards the final boss fight of Act 3 inside of here. Temple of the Primes. I love the detail on all of the rock here. The stone steps. I love killing the frozen mobs because if you kill them before they unfreeze, they shatter. And it just feels really satisfying. This is cool. Loraf's here to stop Elias. Stabs him through the neck. Slay the Tyrant King Brawl. He does hit hard. Respect the boss. And he is dead. Legendary Focus. Artillery Shrine. Part of me kind of wishes there was more mob density, because whenever I get these shrines, I like to decimate everything in the area just for fun, but Usually within 10 seconds everything's dead and I've just run out of things to kill. Once again my audio was messed up, but basically Act 4 started by following an old man through a giant desert. Here you'd take periodic damage from a sandstorm, and as much as the visual effect here was really cool, this for me was by far the most tedious and unenjoyable part of the campaign. Escorting NPCs for a long period of time in any game is just not fun. We made it through the desert to a temple where we proceeded to fight Elias over and over again. This guy would not stay dead. We saw one of the most brutal cutscenes I've ever seen in a game of a guy being eaten alive by 3 dogs. Eventually we recovered an artifact that allowed us to see the location of Lilith. Unfortunately, Elias finds us first and does a ritual that turns a girl into our next boss fight. Boss defeated, new legendary gloves, and that concluded Act 4, allowing me to finally go back to town and pick up my mount. For the next part of the game, we basically did various quests to try and find a way to kill Elias permanently. Here I started to get a bit frustrated at the lack of mob density in this part of the game. As I was getting more powerful, I just wanted to get zerged by hundreds of mobs, but up to this point the packs of enemies felt too small to really have satisfying encounters. We arrived at some creepy tree called the Tree of Whispers that houses the heads of anyone that makes a deal with it once they die. Eventually we killed Elias permanently, and after a cool boss fight and cutscene, we learned the location of Lilith thanks to an ally making a rather unfavourable trade with the tree. At this point I was level 37 and ready to begin Act 6, the campaign finale. Blood is raining from the sky. Level 38. Oh, that's nice, big dense pack. Shattered to pieces, that's fun. What the hell is that? Looks like a pit lord from World of Warcraft. Oh no, he's put us in his belly. Okay, we survived that. Somehow. Brutal. Blood and guts everywhere. Legendary boots. Here it is. The Gates of Hell. Another cutscene. Menacing music intensifies. Level 45 plus, apparently. So I might be a bit under-leveled for this. This is so much better in terms of mob density. I'm glad it's picking up a bit more. I like the fact that this area being level 45 is just a recommendation and the game doesn't hard enforce it. It's nice having the freedom to come here under-leveled if you want to. Requires level 40. Okay, yeah, we're getting way stronger gear now. Almost died there. Ooh, legendary amulet. The recent upgrades that I've had are very significantly increasing my damage. Oh my god, that almost one-shot me. Almost every time I've come close to dying is because of like killing a bunch of mobs and then one of them explodes upon death. And I just don't notice or I don't get out of the way. Loot is becoming a little bit more interesting now. Oh, that's a big boy. The giant hell dragon. Fairly easy to avoid all of his attacks so far. Let's see if there's more mechanics as we get him lower. The ulti. Oh, look at our damage now. We're hitting over 1,000 finally. Right, so when our friends bring him down like that, he takes increased damage. You got a legendary for me, Mr. Hell Dragon? Yes, you have a staff. Don't mind me, just pop in from hell back to town to empty my bags. This is some epic looking environment. So this is a serious cutscene because it's gone all cinematic mode. Mate, she's awfully composed considering there's an army of demons running at her. Balls of steel. 300 Diablo style. This is insane. Absolute top tier cinematic. They should make a movie about Diablo. I'd watch it if it's like this all the way through. We've had a Warcraft movie. We're due a Diablo movie at this point. Mate, that's a bad way to die. Getting killed by a random wall object. Donan's made it this far and he's died to a bloody wall. There's no way. Slaughtered thousands of enemies and you die because you wander off and touch a wall. I'm guessing this is where our final battle takes place. Now Lilith's arrived. We're finally fighting Lilith. I'm assuming there's going to be many phases of this fight. Probably kill the ads. Lots of things to avoid. Almost got her. Finish her off. Finish her. I think we've killed her. Level 40. Maybe we have killed her. Item enchanting unlocked. Oh, here's phase 2. I thought there'd be a phase 2. Makes sense. If there wasn't a phase 2 to this fight, I would have been a little bit disappointed. Visually spectacular fight so far. Dodge this, dodge this, dodge this. Dodge all of these. Oh, they hurt. Those things hurt. Oh, the platform's getting smaller now. How long has that been happening for? Have I only just noticed? Big damage. Is that it? Have we finally fully killed her? Or is there going to be a phase 3? Really cool boss fight, to be fair. I like that the platforms were disappearing as we were taking her out. And thus, she is defeated. I suppose all that's left to do now is head back to town and grab a beer in the tavern. 25% of the resource cost is refunded. That's incredible. Complete Act 6. It is done. And that wraps up the campaign. Now for the fun stuff. Going around the map, doing all these objectives, making our character overpowered, and fully realizing the power of the mage. After beating the campaign, I went on a long dungeon grinding session off camera, unlocked World Tier 3 from beating the capstone dungeon, and got to level 56. It was at this point where I started to feel like my lightning build wasn't strong enough to continue playing, so after spending a bit of time reading guides on max roll, I re-spec'd to Ice Shard Sork. Now initially I didn't like this build because 1, I didn't understand it too well, 2, I didn't have the gear for it to truly shine, and 3, I felt like I had 0 damage or mana when my Frost Nova was off cooldown. Eventually though, this build did start to grow on me, and once I understood it better, I was having fun. Next I decided it was time to fully uncover the map and work on my renown levels. In hindsight, I started working on this kinda late, and I wish I dedicated more time to it during the leveling process rather than waiting until later. Whilst uncovering the map, I also decided to start hunting down all of the altars of Lilith, which were expertly hidden by Blizzard, as I only managed to find 1 or 2 of these myself just playing the game normally for the campaign. I went to the town and finally decided to spend some time checking out the transmog system. Naturally, this led me to the cash shop where I couldn't help myself pick up a few outfits to upgrade my fashion game. I also really like that all of the outfits can be dyed too. I can imagine over time as more armor and cosmetics are released, Diablo 4 transmog competitions could start to have some real potential. Oh, and I also picked up a mount skin too. I couldn't help myself. I went back out into the world, killed a world boss with 10 other players, dinged level 58, checked out helltides, which seem cool but are perhaps not as rewarding as other forms of endgame progression. I did some Legion events, I cleared all the strongholds, did some Tree of Whispers bounties, dinged level 59, finished uncovering the map, and then the servers went down for the day. Big mobs, big damage, nuked. I love it when they're all just stacked on top of each other like that. Is so fun. Here is our final altar of Lilith, and now we have collected every single one of those in the game. With that, all of the additional stats that you get from collecting those should go over to my alt characters. So next time I make a level 1 alt, they should be pretty damn powerful right off the bat. Next on the agenda is clearing all of the side dungeons that give me mage rewards. So right now I'm doing my first nightmare dungeon. I've got 12 revives. Oh, these mobs are only level 54. I guess this is like entry level tutorial nightmare dungeon. Nightmare dungeon complete. And what's this we've got? I'm excited for when mana stops being an issue with this build and I can just spam my ice spikes. Traveling merchant's tack, cosmetic horse armor. Yo, I got a skin drop from a dungeon. Time we go on a nightmare dungeon grinding session, I need to unlock some more glyphs, and I also need to hunt down some uniques. Some object just following me around. Does it hurt me? No idea what it's doing. Oh, okay. So you can get a resource called sigil powder and use it to craft the relevant sigils for your power level. The tier 8 sigils are probably a good one for me to do right now. Oh, beautiful. That's level 60. Oh no, not a protect the NPCs quest. I always fail these. My build is just not good for the quests where I need to keep NPCs alive. I just simply run out of mana as the mobs are spawning. I got a legendary even though they died. Probably didn't deserve it. So this is a tier 11 nightmare dungeon. Got a giant stone thing following me around. I'm assuming I don't want it to catch up to me, and why is that so creepy having that thing follow me? I've had a few close calls to dying on these nightmare dungeons, but I haven't died yet. But I haven't died yet. As I was saying literally 1 minute ago, I hadn't died in a nightmare dungeon yet. Dungeon complete. This one didn't even have a final boss. Tier 19 nightmare dungeon, and we've got this bloody thing following me around again. Going from tier 11 to tier 19, it was a bit of a jump. It was a bit ambitious. And maybe we can do it if we just take it slow.
Watch out, watch out!
Wee! Bro, stop. Fucking absolute just one shot. Fucking kill that thing. Okay, at least I got that. I can run past this mob. 4 revives remaining. There's no way we're gonna kill the boss, surely. Like, if we're dying to random elite mobs, granted they do big damage, what's this boss gonna do to me? Well, let's see how we do. Sliver level 72. And I didn't stand in the bubble. I hate that mechanic. Almost got it. There it is. That was difficult. I'm not ready for tier 19 nightmare dungeons. We need to upgrade that gear a bit. Feeling confident after beating the tier 19 nightmare dungeon, I decided to get cute and attempt the level 70 capstone dungeon to unlock world tier 4 at level 61, thinking it was just as doable. Turns out, it wasn't. Wait, we've done way harder content than this. Someone spoke too soon. Oh my god! Dodge, freeze, dodge, dodge. Oh my. Are we strong enough? Pfft, I actually don't think so. There's a mobilize. We can do some damage here. Dude, I dodged that though. I've spent an hour on this bloody capstone dungeon and we can't do it. To be fair, it was a bit ambitious trying to do this at level 61. Made some decent progress on my sorcerer. Level 62, basically just going to be grinding dungeons, getting my gear up and then doing the capstone. I think what I want to do now though is test out what it's like to make an ult in this game, because I've heard that the game's quite ult friendly and I really want to make a barbarian. You have unlocked the ability to skip the campaign on any of your characters. Giga Damage will be his name. Here he is, level 1. Spawn into the town. Oh, each character has their own renown system. I'm actually surprised. I thought this was account wide. It just made sense to me that it was account wide. Like the whole renown system, I just thought, yeah, that's got to be account wide, right? I'm not gonna lie, the fact that I need to uncover the entire map again on my ult has made me not want to play my ult. At least my ult gets his horse at level 1. After seeing that the entire renown system wasn't account wide and I couldn't make progress towards my Sorks level 5 renown by doing dungeons on my barbarian, as well as the map needing to be uncovered again, I lost any motivation and excitement I had in regards to making an ult. Yes, I'm aware that skill points, altars of Lilith, potions and codex powers are account wide, but I just kinda had the assumption that all of the collectible things were a one and done kind of thing. Seeing that it wasn't made me log back into my main.
Hell is coming.
Resist her temptation!
So after playing Diablo 4 for a week since its full release, my pros and cons for the game so far are as follows. Pros. The game has by far the best visuals in the ARPG genre. The sheer amount of detail in the environments, the effects, lighting and overall style, nothing really comes close to Diablo 4 in this regard. The voice acting was S tier throughout the game, the cinematics and storytelling is also best in genre. In terms of gameplay, it feels quite smooth and polished, pretty much what you'd expect from a Blizzard game. The user interface is extremely clean and well designed. If you're new to ARPGs and are typically put off by overwhelming talent trees, I think Diablo 4 does a good job of easing new players into it with its build systems. Opening the skill tree initially isn't very overwhelming, and by the time you've unlocked the Paragon system, you're most likely ready for more depth of build to be added at that point. I quite like that the game has a lot of collection content with the renown system, and I appreciate that most of the benefits of this systems are account wide. It was something that I enjoyed working through once, but we'll touch on that more later. The game has some really cool boss fights. As far as ARPGs go, it felt like a hybrid between ARPG and MMO, with content such as open world PvP areas, world bosses, legion events, and seeing other players out in the world. I think the game has a decent amount of variety in gearing options once you finish the campaign with helltides, Tree of Whispers, nightmare dungeons, legion events, world bosses, renown farming and strongholds. Additionally, I like that when you beat the campaign you've got various milestones to to aim towards on your journey to level 100, the capstone dungeon at level 50 to unlock world tier 3, the capstone dungeon at level 70 to unlock world tier 4, and the final endgame boss at level 100. These goals at least give you something to grind towards late game. However, I wish there was something like this every 10 levels just to keep players motivated during the grind. Cons. I actually thought it took a long time for the combat to become super satisfying in Diablo 4. From levels 25 to 40, it didn't really feel like my playstyle changed all too much, and leveling up didn't feel like it made a big difference. I think early game, the power increases and playstyles of all the classes feel a bit too sensible. It wasn't until I got to 56 and changed my build that I started to have those wow moments with the combat. I actually didn't enjoy the dungeons in Diablo 4 too much, as they're designed with a lot of backtracking. To be honest, I wish they were more linear, and I could just go forward and kill stuff without having to worry about navigation. Also, the slay all enemies tasks are rather annoying. It would be better if you didn't have to slay 100% of them. Perhaps just 90% of them would be better. As I started to approach the mid to late game, I've found that sorting through my gear has become a nightmare. There's no search functionality for keywords in the storage to help me find specific gear. I also think there's too little storage space. I dislike that gems take up inventory space, and I think they should have a separate bag similar to aspects. As much as level scaling has its benefits with high levels playing with low levels, it creates some cases where a low level player will be dealing more relative damage to mobs than high levels. It feels weird to level up and not really feel that you're stronger when fighting the same mobs in the world. Personally, I'm not a fan of level scaling like this, but I can understand why it exists. Early game class balance needs some work, especially for classes like Druid, which look like potatoes in the early game, but gods in the late game. Realistically, most casual players won't stick through the early game slog on these classes to truly see them shine, so I think more focus needs to be done in making sure every class is fun and powerful early game. I thought the mob density was lacking during the campaign and content pre-World Tier 3, thankfully it does pick up later on though. And finally, I think that the entire unknown system feels like it should be a one and done kind of thing, where progress is shared across all characters. This goes for the uncovering of the map too. If this was the case, I'd be knee deep in Demon Blood playing my barbarian right now. Overall, Diablo 4 is a quality ARPG that I think pretty much everyone will get their money's worth from buying. There's easily 60 to 100 hours of fun content and progression here for even the most casual of players, and for the hardcore players, they'll probably be hitting a few thousand hours once seasons, new classes, and expansions start to release. I think pretty much all of the cons I listed are easily fixable, and I think with updates the game will become even better with even more goals to aim towards. Even still, in its current state, I think Diablo 4 is worth playing and I had a lot of fun with it. This will likely be a game I return to in the future for updates and play in my spare time, slowly making progress towards level 100 and maybe playing some alts. But that's it for this video. Shout out to Blizzard for the sponsorship and allowing me to talk freely about the game. Click the link in the description below to buy Diablo 4 now, and tell me what you think about the game so far in the comments below. Social media on screen, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.